Hey guys, welcome back to OverTakes. This is Kel.
And this is Misfit.
And we are back with our second half of our preview slash kind of overview of the off-season for the whole league. Just brief opinions that we're giving about each team. There's a couple of news bits that we wanted to talk about before we do that. So let's dive into that real quick. The first major one being that the Philadelphia Fusion have now released Snillo.
That's not surprising, I guess.
Yeah.
It's...
I figured if he was going to have any kind of impact, it was going to be last year, and he got, like, 0 playing time. So...
Yeah, I mean he was mostly a Tracer Sombra kind of player, so... Didn't really have much... really didn't have a space last year. It's unfortunate, but that's where DPS guys ended up last year. Like him, like guys like Pine, it's the same. I mean, Pine was way better than him, but
right,
guys of that ilk they're getting dumped. It's unfortunate, but I mean, he wasn't terrible, but he wasn't anything to write home about. I mean, he had a couple of good games here and there where he kind of carried them a little bit because, I mean, they were okay with Tracer and that kind of thing, but maybe he'll get picked up somewhere like tier 2. Yeah, at the very least, I think he'll get picked up by a tier 2 team. Somebody might pick him up to kind of fill out their roster, depending on who needs what and if there's any kind of meta change or whatever. Yeah, all of a sudden Tracer becomes hot again, or somebody's a Sombra specialist kind of in a pinch. I think I could see him being a two-way. He was a two-way with Philadelphia last year, and like initially to start this year, I guess. I could see him two-waying for somebody else. I wouldn't, definitely. You get into a meta where you have a lot of Sombra or you have a lot of Tracer, and you don't have that person. It'll work out. Yeah, but it's still not surprising. Yeah. And so then the next bit of news, which is kind of a leak, kind of just the norm accidental, just the norm of like the miscommunication in general. Well, it wasn't fully their fault. So the Overwatch League, I believe it was their Instagram account. Yeah, it was like one of those wasn't it like one of those like kind of like a promo for like their home games or some shit? And I think it was on their Instagram, and they posted like buy your tickets to the Valiant homestand, but it didn't have the normal LA Valiant green and colors. Gold. Yeah. So it seems like they have switched from that to a light blue gold, very reminiscent of the Chargers. Because of all the teams in Los Angeles, that's the team you're going to mimic. Right? Like, come on, go for the Kings. Go for, like... I mean, silver and black is dope. Yeah. Like... The football team I guess you want to keep the gold. Like, I get that. I don't know. I really don't understand why they're changing it in the first place. It's also kind of funny that the promo has Custa on it, considering he just fired a week ago. Like, come on, guy. He's still the face of your franchise and he doesn't even play for you anymore. Well, they don't... Who's their face? I mean, honestly, let's throw it out there. Who's the face of their franchise? McGravy? Yeah. Shax? Ew. Seriously. Yeah. I mean, any of the guys that you knew... They're Mayhem last year. Yeah. Any of the guys that were anything relevant are all gone. Because I was thinking, like, Kareev is gone. Space is gone. Now Custa's gone. Like... There's no recognizable faces on this team anymore. Okay, so yeah, that's pretty fitting of the Chargers because the old man quarterback that was good and the only good thing that they had on their team that was kind of mouthy is retiring. Oh boy, that's reminiscent of the fucking Valiant. So why not pick up the Chargers colors? Yeah, he probably retired a little 1 year too late though. Oh my God. He's got to go father 5 more children. Yeah, Custa's at least a normal human and not some kind of baby-making born-again machine. Anyway, religion aside. Which, oh my God, if you haven't watched, I think it was from 2 weeks ago, with the last game that they won. And it was the Jaguars game.
and there was like a mic'd up from him, and he's just like, yeah, just like talking mad shit. It's just like, dude, you're missing the playoffs again.
Well, I saw that because I forget who the defensive lineman was. Like, dude, right in my ear. Seriously, man.
Yeah, exactly.
Shut the fuck up! I just knocked you down.
Your ear. Like, oh my god, shut the fuck up, Phillip Rivers. Like, well, keep talking all the trash you want because it's not getting you anywhere. Because have they even ever won a playoff game with him as their quarterback?
I think they did because they got to the championship game one year and then fucking
that's right.
Tomlinson sat out.
Yeah, that's right. That was their best window. I liked that team mostly because I liked Daniel Tomlinson. That dude was a beast.
Fuck them. I hated Phillip Rivers because he actually dissed my boy at that time, Cutler, smoking Jay.
Well, I also never understood why they moved on from Drew Brees in the first place, but it made sense when I realized that they drafted Drew Brees after they drafted Phillip Rivers, and then he started in front of him anyway.
No, it was the other way around. They drafted because Drew Brees has actually been in the league for 20 years. And they didn't use Brees right.
No, they did not.
Because, it's Marty.
Yeah.
Schottenheimer. Guys, if you don't understand football, Marty Schottenheimer is a throw when I absolutely fucking have to throw the ball guy. And Drew Brees is Drew Brees.
Yeah.
So they didn't fit.
Well, he was the guy that here had 2,000-yard running backs
on the same team.
Every year.
In the same year.
In the same year. Multiple years in a row.
Oh, and those guys also probably had 500 to 600 yards receiving.
Oh, easily.
So throwing the ball downfield did not happen in his offense.
No.
But not Chargers bashing aside, so where we left off in the last episode.
To that. So next up is the Guangzhou Charge.
Okay. This seems weird, not gonna lie.
Yeah.
It's not bad weird. It's just they didn't make many changes. They got rid of Hotba, who was kind of their carry really a lot last year. He was kind of the big, especially before the 2-2-2 lock came in. He was kind of their savior. Absolutely.
He was a major factor, so I think it's definitely a hit for them. But at the same time, it really seems like what they're pointing to is basically Nero evolving into being their hard carry.
Yeah, and I have no problem with that. Nero is fantastic.
He is a phenomenal player. His hero pool is absurd. He's insanely good at so many different characters, and I think I can't blame them for really going all in on that guy.
Yeah, and Happy and Eileen also are really, really good. Their DPS, they're another one of those teams where their DPS is their shining spot.
Yeah.
Now they're going for extreme mixed roster. It's kind of I kind of like it in a way they're doing in our mind, the best guy available for the job.
Exactly.
Which is fine.
Yeah, absolutely.
You have Nero. You have now they have Neptuno.
Who you're pairing along with one of the top supports in the league in Shu. And I think that's really going to be a really nice. I think Neptune is going to be a really nice complement to Shu, and then that combination of Shu and Nero is just going to be. That's kind of what they built everything around.
Yeah.
It is trying to take advantage of the strengths of those two guys.
Yeah. I don't know much about Krong, who's coming in to replace Hotba. But, they solidified things around the rest of their roster. Mm-hmm. Even if it's a little step down, it's okay, I think. I think it's one of those teams that didn't do anything to hurt themselves in the off season, as far as releases and pickups and all that kind of stuff. They might have they're kind of even.
They're a team that is betting on themselves.
Yeah, which I'm all for.
Yeah,
and they're one of those teams that has 5 home games
Yeah.
So I think that's going to work in their favor.
And I do think that they're going to be a team that is going to be pretty popular in China as well, because they're going to have so many home games. So I think people are going to travel for them as well. And that's going to give them a big advantage.
Yeah. I mean,
because they're one of the better Chinese teams as well.
I mean, didn't they have a watch party last year that like kind of filled a mall or something ridiculous? So they're fairly popular anyway. I mean, they got marketable players, decent players too. You know, it's hard to figure out because they surprised me and you both last year.
I think they surprised a lot of people by being even a halfway decent team.
Yeah, because
I think most people expected them to be a bottom dweller.
Yeah, they had that really bad stage where what was that, stage 2 or
stage 2? Yeah,
where they got swept, like, of the 7 games, they got swept like 4 in a row. They
lost like 22 or 23 maps in a row or something ridiculous like that. It was bad.
But I think once Nero came in, and I think once they decided, you know what, GOATS isn't working for us, let's just do us.
Right.
I think that's when they got better.
And it was not even just that. It was, we're going to play GOATS when we absolutely have to, but we are not going to force GOATS when we don't need to.
When we suck at it.
Yeah, when we suck at it, or when we feel like there's something that we can do better. And I think that was a really big key, and I think that points to some pretty strong coaching for this team, and I think that's what kind of really gives hope that they're going to be a pretty decent team.
Yeah. I mean, the one big thing that they lost was Curry's shot did leave.
Yeah.
Which
that does hurt.
I really like Curry's shot. I think at some point, if not somewhere down the line this year or next year, he's going to get a shot to be a head coach in the league, and I think he's going to do really well. Because anytime he's like involved with the team, they seem their strategies and the way they play, it comes out, they turn out a little bit better than you kind of expected. I think this team is, that being said, I think this team gets into the play-in.
Yeah, that's about where I see them. Play-in, probably like a higher seed in the play-in.
Like 8 seed.
Yeah.
Somewhere in there.
Kind of right about where they finished last year, maybe a little bit better.
Yeah, I think so too.
All right, let's move on to the Guangzhou Spark.
Okay. I got a lot to say about this team. Well, not a lot to say.
They stood pat.
They stood pat, and I'm going to say that was a bad idea.
I'm kind of leaning that way too.
I don't... this team, like, maybe it's because everybody had so much, like, invested in them last year. Like, all the casters, all the guys that, you know, quote unquote, watch the scrims and watch the stuff are like, they're going to be so good. They were good, but there's something I can't put my finger on it. And I think it's Crystal. Them not having Crystal, he was insanely good.
It is interesting that he is still technically listed on their roster at the moment, at least on their website.
Yeah, on Liquipedia, he's listed as inactive.
Website. Yeah.
Whatever that means. Because he did get suspended because he went back home and did that whole fucking whatever thing. But the thing that could bring him back into the fray, which will be good for them, is they're going to be at home.
Yes.
So his better chance for him if he has this issue with leaving home and all that kind of stuff. Talk to your girlfriend, get her a room, something. Anyway, that aside, I think
this is a team. I see them.
What the fuck's going to happen with this team with me? Yes, I don't know.
I think it's just like last year. They're either going to be impossibly good or so unbelievably bad that, and I feel like there's going to be performances that are going to go 1 week it's going to be one way, 1 week it's going to be the other way.
Yeah.
And it's just going to be an up and down season like that for them. I think they'll have potential to make a run if they can get everything together, but I don't know if that's going to be the case. And that's just kind of how I see it going for them. I just am predicting a very tumultuous season for this team.
Yeah, I think they're going to go in with high expectations from a lot of people, much like last year. Maybe not to the extent of last year. I think they're going to go in with high expectations, and I think they're going to disappoint some people. I think they're going to be somewhere 500 to a little sub 500 as far as record goes, like somewhere, 14 to 12 and 16.
Yeah,
that's where I see them. They got some good players, really good players. Gushway's really good. Godspeed's really good. You have IDK, who's insane on the main support, especially if he gets to play Lucio. Godspeed is really good. It's just, there's just things that are missing.
Yeah, it's really going to be consistency for this team.
Rhea, I think, is okay. He's Rhea's one of the things that I circle.
Yeah.
When I look at this team, he's good at Diva. He's a dinosaur, in my opinion, as far as he did okay playing the other off supports. But remember, when this team was formed, it was when Goats was big.
Right.
Gushway was the one that they didn't think could fit in and be the piece that they could put into the Goats meta, because they were, he's a really great Winston. He has an okay Reinhardt.
Right.
But he turns out to be the best tank that they have. And
honestly, I think he's probably their best player.
Yeah. I mean, I was high on him after watching China in the World Cup last year. I was like, this guy is going to be really good. But yeah, there's just a lot of questions, and it's just, depending on, like we said in the last episode, it's all meta dependent, of course.
Yeah. But I think their issues are going to be deeper than meta. But yeah. All right, so that's enough on Hangzhou. Let's move on to the big winners, I guess, from this season.
Here we go.
From this offseason, and that is
the Houston
Outlaws.
Let's
start with the good. Picked up Meko to replace Cool Matt. Cool Matt is still technically on the roster. Same with Spree.
Watch and learn.
But I think if anybody's going to get any kind of playtime, it'd probably be Spree. Meko, huge pickup. Really, I mean, you couldn't ask for anything better than that. Keeping Muma and putting him with a guy like Meko, I think, is a big deal.
Yeah.
Then they go out and sign Hydration, which I felt like was a weird,
decent
pickup. Yeah,
I'm gonna go weird here and say I'm not impressed with their DPS lineup as much as everybody else is. I think it's average.
Yeah, I do think Linkser is a very good player, but I don't know if
he's a very good Widow.
Yeah, he's an incredible Widow, but I don't know if his other hero pool. I think that's always kind of been his
Widow McCree.
His crutch is that he is not great at other DPS. His hero pool is pretty limited.
Yeah.
I think that's kind of probably why you picked up a guy like Hydration and Blase, just to kind of try to make up for that. And then you got Dante as well. But I agree. I think they're
it's highly overrated right now.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because the one thing I will say is I'm a fan of Hydration. I like the fact that he can you can plug him into anything. Mm-hmm. And he's kind of a libero type. You can plug him in. He's not the greatest, but he'll do an above average job.
Right.
The rest of it is up in the air to me, as far as DPS goes.
Yeah.
Linkser, when he's on. And when he's not, he's hot garbage.
Absolutely.
Blase is slightly above average, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
Dante is good at a certain select few heroes, and that's pretty much it for him. Like the Sombras, Tracers, it kind of flanker-ish kind of players.
Right.
Which is fine because hydration is going to fill in a lot of that projectile or, like whatever you have, like that kind of shit.
Exactly.
Pharahs and Genjis and Doomfist and probably Mei if necessary.
Right. Their DPS is really going to be the biggest question because they did get a lot better in their support line by picking up Repel.
Yeah. I think he's a definite start.
Oh, most definitely.
Yeah.
It'll most likely be a lot of Repel and Boink.
Which is doable.
Yeah, absolutely.
The shining part of this team is going to be their tank.
Yes.
Line. Muma
we've always been, as much as we've given the
Muma's always been the exception to our bashing of the team.
Exactly.
And to see him with a really outstanding off tank is gonna be great to watch. I'm excited actually to see it.
Yeah.
To see him play with someone that is like his caliber of a tank.
Mm-hmm.
The one thing that they did do, as much as we kind of like are going about this and that pickup wise, is they brought in a good coach.
Yes. Bringing in Harsha as their head coach is huge.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's going to be one of the things where he can bring the odd bits of this team right now together. And I think they're going to be a playoff team. As much as I kind of was like saying that their DPS is kind of average to below average-ish.
I kind of am with you. I think that their tank line is going to almost make up for that.
And if you get into certain metas and certain situations where hydration can carry and you can fill in the other, like a hit scan or whatever, if you're in a situation where you're running Doomfist and you can put in hydration, I think that's going to work.
Absolutely.
Pharah, that kind of stuff. To me, it gets a little murky because their division has gotten a lot better.
It has. I think that's really the biggest thing. The biggest hurdle they're going to have is the other teams that they're going to have to play are really damn good.
Yeah.
That being said, I do think that you're right, that this is very likely a playoff team. Play in for sure.
Yeah. Maybe through coaching, good, because I believe in the way Harsha coaches. And I think he learned a lot too, doing the assistant job that he had in Vancouver, learning that kind of stuff. I do think that they're going to be in the playoffs, and they're going to be sniffing around not just the play-in. I think they're going to be they're going to be either on the edge or in that just secured playoff spot.
Yeah.
As much as it pains me to say that.
Yeah, I'm with you.
I think they're one of the most improved teams, and it's because they got the chains taken off too.
Mm-hmm. That's going to make the biggest difference for this team more than anything is that they're not just under that blanket of like unknown, and I think that was a really big factor in hindsight as to why they performed as poorly as they did.
Yeah, we can't do anything.
Exactly.
You're handcuffed by money and the team. It was just a whole weird situation for them.
Mm-hmm.
And I think they're going to be vastly improved.
Yeah.
And I think even if obviously the biggest Boink, I'm not the biggest fan of.
Yeah, but I agree.
If you have a meta where there's like a Lucio involved, he's a really good Lucio.
Absolutely.
So I just don't know how he is with, if he has to play like in this situation, Baptiste, the way things are looking, what's his Baptiste like? I mean, maybe you bring in hydration and play him on Baptiste. I don't know. Or, these other guys, you have someone that's kind of like your Rascal.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Yeah, I think there's definitely a lot of possibilities for this team. I think they can be a lot better. Let's move on to another team that is either going to be incredibly good or a hot steaming pile of garbage. and that is the London Spitfire.
Oh. Well, I'm going somewhere between the dumpster and, I don't even know where to put this team. They have so many unknowns. They gutted the whole roster. They got rid of that whole team that won the championship in season 1.
Mm-hmm. Not a single soul left from that roster.
Soul pun intended. Anyway, I don't know what to think of this.
Yeah, I really don't either. I think they have the one thing that
they kept all the people they kept Krillin.
Right.
He's their Zachary.
Well, so what I see with this team is what's really going to make or break them, and I think it's kind of the bet that they're making, is that their coaching and their just everything, the system that they have, I feel like they're trying to prove that that's what really makes them good. So it'll be interesting to see if that comes to fruition. Whether it will or not, I honestly can't say. Because even with all of with everything and winning the first season, even the first season was an up and down year. Last season was even worse in that respect. So, I guess I understand wanting to start over, but is that going to be enough? Did you make too many drastic moves?
Yeah,
did you
that's
not make
the thing.
enough? I just don't know.
Yeah, I don't know either, and it bugs the crap out of me. Per Liquipedia, they have 4 supports, 1 DPS, and 2 tanks.
Yeah.
So there's room for other stuff because they picked up highly from Soul.
According to the website, they have 4 supports, 2 DPS, and 2 tanks.
Okay, because
Glister and Shui are both.
Now, see, Glister, okay, he's inactive. He's underage. Glister's underage.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
So, what are you going to do?
Right.
Are they just going to bring in some... they can't call... They got to call up, one of these guys that used to play for him. Something will happen. But I just got... I got budget feel all over it. It's... Mm-hmm. It's kind of... It feels like what the Mayhem did last year with the budget Korean team. All right, we got some guys. There's a couple guys that got good potential here, like J-Mac.
Yeah.
But everything's a downgrade.
Yeah. It feels like
to
that.
me, J-Mac isn't Gesture. Bernard's not fucking Fury. You know what I mean?
Exactly,
you can just keep going down the line. And there's no way they have anyone that comes that can even smell the area that Prophet was in. Mm-hmm. So I find them bottom 5. I realistically,
yeah,
maybe if magic happens, they get into the play-in. But I think they're in that boat with Boston.
Yeah, I'm with you. It's either going to be pretty good, or
it's going to be what the fuck either way.
Yeah, pretty much.
What the fuck? This team is horrible. What the fuck? How is this team winning?
Exactly.
It's really what it's going to be.
Yeah. Or it'll be both. There will be times where they look really, really good and unstoppable, and then times where you're just like, what? They just dominated.
I do kind of believe in the organization, and I think they have a good base. Yeah. And I think they're going to do some stuff. They got a Gape from fucking New York, and we got one of our old guys, formerly known as Awesome Guy, is one of their assistants who was doing some stuff with the Mayhem. And they got Pavane. Pavane's from the New York. Sorry.
Yeah.
And Stylosa has something involved with that, so, I would really love to hear what he has to say about that, but, it's just weird. I don't know really what to say other than it's hot garbage.
Yeah, that's about where I'm leaning right now.
I have to go get a water.
Basically, like they have a lot to prove in order for me to think that they're going to be worth anything.
Oh yeah. All right. So we talked enough about the Spitfire and whatever the hell they're doing. Let's talk about a team that has done some good moves and some other moves, and is still the best team in Los Angeles no matter what they did. The Gladiators. Let's get them.
This is a team that, I mean, we did talk a lot about them in the off season, but I mean, they made some pretty big moves. They still have some filling out of their roster to do.
Yeah,
it seems like there's some guys that are
their DPS is weird,
fully confirmed. Because honestly, if you look at the website, they have 4 guys on their team at the moment. They have Big Goose, Shaz, Space, and Oj.
Yeah.
Are the only guys that show up on the actual website. We know that that's not the full thing because they did re-sign Bishu. They signed Cloudy. They signed
Mirror,
Birdring, Paintbrush,
and Jaru. Jaru, I believe, he was the latest signing like a couple days ago, like about a week ago. I don't know what to say about the DPS line.
I mean, that's really the biggest question. Obviously,
it's weird.
One of the best support lines in the league.
Oh, yeah.
You just put together a pretty strong tank line with Space and Oj. And then now you're really just kind of looking at your DPS and being like, okay, who's going to do what? And how's this all going to play out?
Yeah. I mean, you have Birdring, who's
either going to be a god or he's going to be
a baby.
Yeah, exactly.
And Birdring is very meta dependent too, because it seems like if you get him off of hit scan, he's terrible. Well, not terrible. It takes him way too long to figure something out, I guess. Because, like he couldn't play Brigitte until it was too late. He couldn't get the Mei or Zarya down. It was just, there were things that were just hindering him. I mean, when he's playing Widow and he's playing heroes that he's comfortable on, he's one of the best DPS players in the league.
Absolutely.
But
then, I mean, really the big thing is going to be, are the coaches going to be able to really take advantage? And I lean towards the fact that they probably can, because
great.
DPay is DPay.
And they have Curry Shot now too.
Bring in Curry. Yeah, you bring in a guy like Curry Shot. I think that's going to really help this team a lot. And that was always one of their main issues, was kind of their strategic things, and that's what Curry Shot was brought in for.
Yeah.
And just kind of how they go about things.
And I think him and DPay are going to do a good job figuring things out, because DPay could always come up with some weird shit. Like he came up with the weird, what was that, the bamboozle?
Yep, the great bamboozle. Then I think Curry Shot will kind of help them really integrate those things and just help them be a little more consistent overall.
Yeah. The guys, they brought in a couple of guys just for backup purposes, I'm assuming. Like Cloudy and Bishu and and Paintbrush. I don't see Paintbrush getting really that much time over.
Yeah.
In the support line that they have, where you got Chaz and Big Goose, who are 2 of the best.
He's roster fill.
Yeah. You need backups, though, right now with the travel.
Absolutely.
It's not... The travel, it's not every week, but still, it's... you're going to have times where I think I saw somewhere where the Valiant are going to be in China, Korea area, in that area for a month.
Yeah.
You need guys that can handle that. And, some guys are going to need to take off, because they're not used to it or whatever. So you got to have a decent enough backup. And I think Paintbrush could fill that. Their DPS line is weird. I don't know what to think. I mean, it's one of those things, kind of like last year, where you go in, you're like, well, this guy's good at this guy's good at that. Oh, but those guys aren't playing. Excuse me. those guys aren't playing those heroes because they're not meta.
Right.
You know? Last year you went in, like, for instance, you say London, you went in and you're like, well, they got Prophet and Bird Ring. Fuck, they're good.
Uh-huh.
But unfortunately, one of them had to play fucking Brigida.
Exactly.
You know? I mean, it's not going to be that way. One of them's going to have to play May, possibly.
Right.
You know?
And you just, it's going to really kind of be dependent on I think that's something that they can figure out as they go because they're so set at the two main aspects that you really need to be set at. I think it's going to take probably a little bit of time for Space and Oj to fully gel, but I think this is going to be a team that's going to look really strong and pretty consistent throughout the season. I think the biggest question is going to come down to, are they going to perform and execute when it really matters? And that's always been the question with this team. And I think that still has not changed.
I don't think it has, but they have a couple of guys that play in pressure really well in Space and honestly Bird Ring.
Yeah.
As much as I kind of slam Bird Ring, he's been in the ringer and he's made big plays in some of those games where, you know, in those playoff games, and it was season 1.
Right. But I think, if they can keep Bird Ring engaged and playing at that kind of level and really get some consistency out of him with that, I think this team really goes a long way.
Yeah. And I think...
if they don't, barring that, Bird Ring has basically the same season that he's had the last 2 years. I think this team still makes the playoffs with no problem.
Yeah. I think they make it into the not play-in. They're above the play-in.
Agreed.
I think they did enough. I think you can. The thing is you have the hardest things to solidify. You got a solid tank line. You got a solid support line. DPS you can work around.
Exactly.
You know, they survived with one DPS player really. Well, actually, never mind. Hydration did his work for them. Mm-hmm. Their biggest problem before was, you know, main tank.
Yes.
Post Fissure, of course.
Right.
You know.
Yeah.
Because that guy. But yeah, I think they did enough. They got rid of a lot of guys, but they picked up enough guys that made a bigger impact. I think it kind of works out better to. Yeah. It works out better to be able to finagle the DPS line. You don't have to worry about the tanks. You have to worry about the supports. You can fuck around with the other shit. Right. Exactly.
All right. That's going to wrap it up for that. You go ahead and close this one.
All right, guys. So this is part 2. We thought it was going to be 2 parts, but, you know, we ramble. So anyway, thanks a lot for joining us for this one. Everybody on YouTube, thank you very much for watching. Please hit a like, hit subscribe. Be sure to hit the likes. And it just because it helps us out, it gets us up in the search engines and all the algorithms and all that kind of stuff. Because we just want to keep talking about Overwatch League. We want more people involved. So do that. Join our Discord. You know, join us on social media. All you guys out in podcast land, thank you very much. If you could hit a rating, it would be greatly, greatly appreciated on iTunes, Spotify, however you do it on that. And all of the other ones, definitely comment on those things too. We will catch you on the next one, and we will talk to you later.
Catch you guys on the next one. Later.